Alright fellas, today, quick little unboxing, first impressions. This Milwaukee 3/8 Mechanics tool set. It is the master set, SAE and metric. Now Milwaukee did send this to me. So 56 pieces. It's got a 90 tooth ratchet, a couple of extensions, universal joint, 27 short sockets, 25 deep wells. Removable tray, 4-degree swing arc. It does have the 4 flat sides, which I like that idea. I really do. 6/19, no skips on the standard metric. 1/4 to 1 inch on the shallow SAE. 1/4 to 7/8 on the deep SAE, which those are the 2 sockets you're missing. 15/16 and 1 inch. 6/19. Also, no sizes skipped on the metric deeps. Does have a lifetime guarantee. 1-800 sawdust. That's always the number you call for Milwaukee replacement repair. You can also get a hold of them on their Facebook page. It says here made in China and Taiwan. I don't know what's made in China. I don't know what's made in Taiwan. I've heard the case is made in China and all the tools are made in Taiwan. But that's just what I've heard. It does have really good clasps. When they're locked, they're locked. It's not going to open on you. I like how they ship this. Make sure none of those sockets go anywhere. I think with this case being so tight against that, you're not going to have this stuff fall out anyway. There's their little 4 flats design. So you take any wrench, lock it on there, and you're going to be able to get your twisty or torquey without needing a ratchet on it. So very confined spaces, you have something for that. So the 4 flats here, any open-ended wrench that's the right size will fit this. Adjustable will probably be your best friend because they do change sizes. You know, the bigger the socket, the bigger the wrench. And actually this little Honda 150 millimeter, you know, 4-inch, whatever that is, isn't going to get the big guys. So you step it on up to a 6 or an 8. But that's the function they have right there. You put a wrench on it. I have gone out and bought specific wrench sockets. Now these are very hard to find. These are westward. Craftsman had some back in the day, but that's essentially a ratcheting socket wrench there. Also, pass-through sockets, good to throw a wrench on also. It's one of the things where all these are 10 millimeter, and as you can tell, there's not very much size difference there between the 3 of them. Not only that, these little guys only came in 12 point. Not ideal for a socket. That 6 point is good though. You can actually save yourself a little money by not buying a pass-through set, not trying to find these socket wrenches, using the Milwaukee 4 flats. It is going to work. Just a little something extra for you. You don't have to go out purposely buy something different. It's already included in this kit, already a feature. It's always good when they pack more features into stuff. Swivel doesn't really look like anything too special. It does work. It does have positive lock on there. Of course these are new, so test that detent out over time. See just how good. I mean, that's pretty stiff spring. And they do have pretty deep detents in there to catch it. All the detents are on all 4 sides. Their knurling here is not knurling. It's just kind of grooved, lying straight up and down the shaft. Now that will help. Your starting bolt. You know, starting a bolt, having to start with the socket on there. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how good that's going to be, or if it's even going to matter. You know, not all knurling's the same. There's light knurling, there's deep knurling. This is actually fairly deep. I mean, you can get in there and really grab it. But that's one of those things about this 4 flats here too. You can actually grab that socket, get your thumb on the edge of it and your forefinger on the other, and give it a nice twist while it's on that ratchet. That's another good thing about that 4 flat system. And as you can see here, bottom of the socket is not wider than the ratchet head. It doesn't stick out any from the ratchet head. That's the 19. Step it on up to the 7/8, and it's still a little bit smaller than the whole width of that ratchet. No quick release, which you're either for quick release or you're not. I'm kind of indifferent, really. I like having them, I don't like having them. Just kind of depends. Again, it's not coming off, so check that detent out over time. See how that spring works in there. See how that spring holds up. It's pretty solid. Ratchet sounds good. So this is the first time I've ever had the Milwaukee set here. I'm gonna go ahead and compare it against some other chrome. Alright, so here's the chrome. All I've done is wiped all these sockets down with some alcohol. Over here you have an Aries socket. You have Capri, Milwaukee, SK, which I know it says Klein, but it's actually an SK, Snap-on, and a Proto. So there you can see the difference in chrome. It does have really good looking chrome. I mean, it's kind of hard. You almost gotta compare the tips, because that flat gives you a real bright shine. The chrome on these Milwaukee look just about as good as the chrome on the Capri. You can go ahead and rewind it back, look for yourself there. But really, I got no complaints on the chrome. It's not exactly SK, it's right up there. I mean, Capri has really good chrome. Now onto the ratchet. The guy right here is 90 tooth. It is fairly low profile. I mean, she's got some meat on her, but doesn't have the button. That lever there is fairly flush mount. I mean, it sticks out a little ways. It's not anything that's going to get you in trouble. We have the old standard Craftsman USA guard variety. I think they only made like 80 million of these. So if you don't have one, chances are you can find them in the road. There's the Milwaukee. This right here is the Capri. This right here is an SK. This right here is a Snap-on. And this right here is a Proto. So you can see, as far as it being low profile, it is the lowest profile out of the bunch. And also the highest teeth count of all these ratchets. This Challenger, you're looking at right around the 40 mark. This Snap-on is actually, it's 28 tooth. SK, 40 tooth. The Capri is a 72, which is the next closest. And then the Craftsman, 36 tooth. Let's go ahead and get into her. It is a T9. Oh, huh. Very interesting. Here's your lever. This is actually kind of a pain to get out of here. Well, not really a pain. It's just springy and bally. That's what it is. Up inside this handle right here, you can see that there's a through hole drilled back into this handle. It's actually not through. It goes straight into the handle. That holds a spring, that spring right there, and that little ball bearing or BB. Then your handle goes in, and this right here holds it in place. You wedge that in there on the very bottom, and this will keep that handle mechanism together while it's in there. You throw your spring and your detent all in one in there. Spring first. It's always spring first. And that's what rides on the back of your teeth here to help switch it, change the gears left to right. Then you have your Anvil assembly here. Lots of fine little teeth on there. Of course, there's 90 teeth on that. There's actually 19 teeth on this pawl. So half of them will engage at one time. So I'm guessing there's probably 9 that engage, and the one here in the middle doesn't. But we'll go ahead and put it back together, kind of see. I'm going to let you in on putting this together because, like I said, it's kind of a pain. There you see right there. That's what the ball rides on inside the handle, and also gives you a positive locking on which way you select that lever so it doesn't come out on you. This spring, I don't know if you can tell it, one side's fatter than the other. We'll put the fat side out. This right here is what's going to take some doing, because you're going to have to compress that ball on that spring as you slide this lever in. And you guys aren't going to be able to see it because I can barely see it. Nope. The whole thing shot out of there. That's what happened whenever I took it apart. If you can see that, but I bent this nail down, stuck it in through the bottom. That's holding that ball and spring in there. Now I just have to get this lever lined up with one of the holes there and push it down as you pull the nail out, and that will catch that bloody ball and spring in there. And I would suggest, before you let go of this thing and monkey around too much, go ahead and grab this wedge. This has 2 sides. The mushroom side sticks out. Wedge side goes down in there. And get that baby pushed in there. Now these here lock ring pliers, you probably don't need them, but I did. Because you have to get that wedge in there far enough that this slides on it and it allows it to still have movement on this gear. So next we have to put this little guy in here. It's springy, so watch it. Again, I'm going to do the old red lube of love trick because it just tends to hold stuff in place better. Okay, so I put 1 drop of the red lube of love in there, smeared it around, got it on everything. That little wedge we put in there in the back, that does not have anything to do with this pawl. It actually rides on top of that. So when you put it in, you push that spring in, leave that floating on the top of it, slide your gear in, and then you use it to all you're using is that spring and that detent in there to switch between on and off. This is one of the things that Milwaukee did that's actually excellent about this ratchet, is they have gasketed it. So this is a sealed ratchet. That is something you only find on higher end ratchets. the fact that Milwaukee included that is a very nice feature. I think having that gasket in there is excellent. Keep all the dirt, debris, keep your oil inside the ratchet so you can't contaminate whatever you're working on. You know, if you're in aerospace or, you know, some other kind of field like that where contaminants can cause a lot of problems. I don't know, a little trick I do on these little guys so that I don't cross thread them is I actually back them up until it clicks into place and falls in that first groove. Then you start it. You won't ever cross thread a screw that way, especially these little machine screws, which are super easy to cross thread. I'm gonna guess, just like with most fine tooth ratchets, they're gonna recommend some kind of light oil, air tool oil, 3-in-1, something like that. Super lube is probably fine. I always use this red lube of love though. I've had excellent results with it. It's just great stuff. Now, seeing as how this is Milwaukee, I don't know if this is an M3/8 or what the deal is, but yes, it does have an on and an off. So when you're putting it to bed at night, make sure she's in the off position. You don't want to wear your battery down. Now the part number for the kit, 4822 9008. This ratchet, however, has a part number on it there also. It is 4822 9038. And it is a nice ratchet. I think it fits pretty good in the hand. You get your knuckles right in there, grip the flats on it. I can use that. I really like to see Milwaukee breaking into the old mechanics, automotive kind of side of everything. They have excellent power tools. Matter of fact, a lot of the Snap-on fanboys junked those old Snap-ons and went straight over to Milwaukee. Hadn't batted an eye ever since. These have some really excellent features to them. I like the 4 square, 4 drive, what do they call that? I like that 4 flat. And these sockets here, these deep sockets, you look straight at it, it's rounded in the corners and the flats come up and dome. So this is a flank drive, wave drive, you know, grip it on the flats of the fastener type socket. The broach is about halfway down. It's a semi-deep broach. It's not a deep broach, it doesn't go all the way down, and it's not a shallow broach either that only comes down, you know, a 1/2 of an inch or 3/8 of an inch. These are stamped, the sizes, on 2 sides. It's not a real heavy stamping, but it's going to stay on there. I mean, if you think about it, this right here, whenever this spins and it's up against something, it is never going to come in contact with that right there. It's always going to hit a corner. So that stamping is going to stay on there. It doesn't have to be super heavy. This laser etching up here where they got the Milwaukee, that's going to rub off. They should have taken that Milwaukee and laser etched it down here on these 2 flats where the sizes aren't, and it would have stayed forever. But these sockets, I like the features of them. I like that 4 flats. It's an excellent idea. If you're not ever going to use that, it doesn't hurt a thing, but you are going to use it, because whenever you go to twist that bolt in, you're going to be using those flats, and you're going to sit there and wonder how you mucked around with an all-round socket for years and years and years, slipping and not getting it in there and being frustrated. And those 4 flats right there, it might actually be a game changer. We'll see. The ratchet, sealed head ratchet, that's a feature you don't find unless you get into really high dollar ratchets. And to be included in the kit, I think they should sell that separately. I mean, by itself, you know, individually, not having to buy a kit to get one of these ratchets. I think that would be a pretty good seller. The striping on the extensions, I don't know how that's going to work. It's just another one of those things where you're going to have to test it out and see if that striping right there works just as good as knurling does. If you're a Milwaukee fan, you're going to get this. You're going to like it. If you're an entry-level technician, this is at that price point where Blue Point is, Blue Power, way cheaper than Matco, way cheaper than Cornwell, cheaper than Blackhawk probably. Yeah, this is going to be a great entry-level set. You don't have to have the snap-on. All this stuff is going to work. Lifetime guarantee, and you know, made in Taiwan. It doesn't have near the stigma it had 20 years ago. Taiwan cranks out some really good stuff, really high quality tools now. Just like Japan. You know, Japan used to be crappy, for lack of a better word. Their stuff sucked. Now, that is China and India. It's not so much Taiwan and Japan anymore. Yeah, I have links in the description of this. I know you can pick it up at Home Depot. I know there's like internationaltool.com, toolnut.com, toolbarn.com, I think. And I believe, you can always pick it up on Amazon also. 2-day prime shipping. And I really like how that lifts out of there. I mean, and that's not that cheap plastic. I mean, it's a thick plastic. Look at that. And there's hardly any flex in that. Being able to take this out, set it in your toolbox. Maybe you're like me and not all your jobs are in a shop. Take this out of your toolbox, throw it back in the case, slam her down, lock it up, throw it in the back of the truck, take off. That's a great idea. And this kit is super thin. Oh, look at there. One extension fell out. And it didn't even fall out all the way. There you go. Pretty good looking case too. Yeah, as always, like, comment, share, subscribe, love, hate, hardnugsforge@gmail.com. Don't send me any panties, because they never fit.